Welcome to the LongBox Paradox, episode 87 from the Comic Shop News Network. I am Dan, and as always, my co-host Jennifer, who managed to muster the strength to come on from the blistering heat.
Sponsored by energy drinks.
Now I feel like a Led Zeppelin song. I come from the land of the ice and snow, hammer of the gods. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about. If you watch the little promo, we're going to be talking about the Old Guard Netflix movie and what we thought of it. But I'm going to start out right away with some news that, for those who watch the show, know that I have a hot take or three on this, maybe five. Hello, Vigilante. By the way, I have Dracula Motherfucker to talk about, thanks to a viewer hooking us up.
Okay. I failed on this front. I completely forgot to read Dracula Motherfucker, so...
Okay, so I really want your take on it. We'll hold it out for another week.
Okay. Another week, and we will talk about Dracula Motherfucker.
Okay. And thank you to the person who hooked us up with it. I'm not going to say your name because
you're just an
cool.
MVP. Yeah.
Yes.
But thank you.
Thank you. And Vigilante, thank you for putting it on my radar, because that person put it onto us. So great all around. Okay, so DC dropped this news of a new Rorschach title, because you know what we needed after Doomsday Clock? More fucking Watchmen.
You know, I feel like I'm starting off this episode with so many failures, because I feel like at one point I promised you and D Comic Queen Nat that I would try to read Doomsday Clock again. Totally didn't. And sorry about that.
Well, had I not already fractured my hand, I probably would have punched something. Not only does DC announce a new Rorschach title, which really we didn't need. It's just like, I know Alan Moore is conjuring a spell right now, which actually now in hindsight, given who's writing it. So it's Tom King and Jorge Fornes. Anywho, they're doing this title. It's supposed to take place after Watchmen, which makes no sense because Rorschach's dead. And our beautiful child Cinia guest, beautiful soul, had this to say. The thing with Rorschach is that he is fascist aligning, and even when done well, alt-right people, Nazis, still sympathize and embody him. So please don't act surprised that I think Rorschach comic in 2020 may not be the best move. And I like Tom King's writing for the most part. He has his hits and misses, but Rorschach's a very dangerous character that's frequently misinterpreted and used as a hero for real life politicians and powerful people. So,
100% agree there with Sydney. She hit the nail right on the head.
So I had to reply. He is also a character I don't think we need a Tom King deconstruction on. I will be discussing this at the top of the stream. And she was like, I'm surprised that during a historical period like this, when we were seeing America slip into fascism, DC would do something so tactless.
Really? You're surprised that DC would pull some dumb shit? Like, at this point, I am not surprised by any dumb shit that DC is pulling. Dog Carcass and Allie this morning. Yeah, Tom. Yeah. I feel like, not necessarily that I'm not enjoying Strange Adventures and that I didn't enjoy Mr. Miracle and Vision. Hey, Santa. But I feel like I'm really just...
That's for you, Sanimation.
Thank you. You know, Santa, I said the same thing. I was like, I'm going to read it and I'll do a review and I'll send it to you on a CD-ROM. So thank you for, we'll get you... But I don't know. I just imagine that he's going to use the same formula that he used for Mr. Miracle, and that I feel like he's using the same formula for Strange Adventures. I feel like he'll use the same formula again, and just, I don't know, write a weird romance with Rorschach, and I don't know. That's my hot take. I don't know is my hot take with this one.
We don't need it. We don't want it. I want DC to stop publishing Watchmen so Alan Moore gets it back and he can just go back to whatever hermit cave he's at and just be content with life.
What do you think? So if in the best case scenario that Alan Moore did get Watchmen back, that he was writing it again and doing that, like, what would it look like? What would
he won't write it? He literally just wants it to go away.
My heart still. Okay, in a world where Alan Moore will write it, how do you think that he would write it? Like, what would be the crazy shit? Do you think that he would go full, like, Avon Gallion and just orange juice the shit out of the entire universe?
My thought is that he would write what's going on today.
Yeah.
And use what's going on. So there'd be a plague. There'd be just global unrest.
All the right-wing characters just would not wear masks, and like no mask wearing. It's controlling us.
It would be interesting, but at the same time, I think he's just done with the superhero genre as a whole. Like, I just don't think it interests him, and I know, like, it infuriates him that basically they keep using it. And every time they release a graphic novel, reprint it, it's another year tacked on. It has to be a year that they don't reprint it at all, and he gets the rights back.
I feel kind of bad because I know
you need to read it once.
Oh my, if you have not read Watchmen, like, I'm not saying, like, just get off the stream now, but I'm saying, like, it needs to be the first thing that you do. I believe Alan Moore knows what's going on today. Does he?
He's a time traveler.
I think he does know what's going on. And here's the thing, is because he did come out of his cave last year and was basically like, because he's, full socialist, and he was basically like, for the first time in years, I'm actually going to vote and don't vote for the Labor Party. And I forget, I'm not as much in tune with those politics on the other side of the pond, but he was basically not endorsing whatever Labor Party. Or no, he was for the Labor Party, right? I don't know. It's confusing. I'll get
Bye, Santa. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah.
I'll be playing that game tomorrow when it arrives. So on the good part of news that broke, Scott Snyder broke his own news. The final arc of American Vampire is coming out in fall. And it's American Vampire 1976. And there's Skinner Sweet wearing a sweet mullet on the cover. I'm excited for it. I've been waiting for it. It's been years. It's the original team back together, which is nice. And kind of out of nowhere, they're just like, hey, by the way. I mean, we knew they were working on it, but real quiet, like.
Yeah.
So bad news for me, good news for me. So I got the sandwich. There has to be something bad, like one more thing. Although I guess you could kind of say that Warren Ellis stuff the other day was bad, and Image removing all content referring to him, like the history of the forums. Oh, Gambit, hello. Feels like forever. We need to work on the date for your book club episode too, so text me later with days that work. Just gonna jump on you now since I see you. Okay, so let's get into our reviews.
Let's do it. Just do it.
Let's start.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and start. And so I didn't go and pick up the physical copies, and I just went ahead and read them digitally pretty quick. So I'm going to go ahead and give them another reread. But the first of the three that I really enjoyed this week was Ludocrats. This title by Gillen has just been such a weird, wacky ride, and it starts off with a guy being tortured to get, I don't want to give away too much, but there's a guy getting tortured, but he's really enjoying it, and basically just being abused, and it's such a weird, wacky vibe, and that's my brand of stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed Ludocrats this week. I feel like it's been very consistent as far as the weird wackiness level, the information that they give to you to enjoy the series. I feel like that's been consistent. There hasn't really been so far this is the third one. There hasn't really been one that I'm like, okay, I hate this one. So I would give it like a solid 8 out of 10 if I was going to do that.
Issue 1, I tried it. I didn't really love it. So I kind of just bailed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when it comes to collected, I'll go back.
I do think that as with almost any Image title, like Image, I'll buy an Image #1 almost no matter what. Like there's a couple factors that I'll maybe leave it to the sidelines and wait. But for the most part, I'm going to pick up every single Image #1 and try to get it. But Image has like really good PR, marketing. Kat Salazar, like you must be doing a really great job because, man, like every single #1 gets really, really hyped. So I feel like, with Mercy, #1 got like stupid hype. I know I'm bringing it up. I'm sorry. But, maybe it's a bad example, but I feel like it's so hyped and we
Oh, no, it was overhyped. It was overhyped to hell. And
100%.
yet a book like Philadelphia gets no hype.
I don't want to call it underwhelmed, but I feel like
it's under the radar.
100%. Like Philadelphia was to me, like I already know when we do an episode of like the best of 2020, Philadelphia is going to be on it no matter what. So, I mean, well, did it come out in 2020 or did it start in whatever? I don't give a fuck.
It was on the cusp.
It was still like to me the best hit of 2020. In a year of just shitty shit. So anyways, Image does this thing where #1s just get overhyped, and I think Ludacris did get that a little bit, but I enjoy the weird wackiness.
So I will stay with Image Comics on this, and Family Tree #7. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm enjoying it. Like it's teasing you just enough. This had a time jump to a little bit in the future, a little bit in the past. So it kind of was playing the game of give you a little bit of each. But I was completely engrossed in it because I want to know what's going on.
I wish that I had kept up with Family Tree when the first 5, or I think the first 5 is what the trade is. Well, anyways, I picked up the trade. I really enjoyed it. But now looking back, I think that if I had read it in single issues, it would have been a pinch too slow for me. But I'll probably go ahead and pick it. I'll obviously pick it up, but I probably won't read it until the second collected volume.
I came close to quitting after the first issue.
But it's really good though. Like I like the kind of talk that they talk about the eco-conscious and all of that. Like I thought it was a really good title.
But now on the other side of that, Gideon Falls came out and I fucking bought it again. I'm done. I'm out.
What issue is this now that like you're
oh god, I want to say it was like issue
23.
23. I stayed too long. I stayed way too long. But now it did a future jump and I really don't know what the fuck is going on. And I'm just like
I'll get Watchmen next
camera work in the game. Okay. I will be playing it tomorrow, or I'll take the 2 hours to install it and then get to play when I get home the next day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So. Oh god, I lost my train of thought. Family Tree 7. It's a solid 7 for me.
Yeah.
Definitely pick up the first trade, because once the first trade ends, it starts picking up to where we're going and kind of reveals kind of what happens in the future. We're in a Swamp Thing issue. He did this to Gotham at one point.
Yep. It's funny because when I was reading it, I'm like, why am I getting Swamp Thing vibes? And maybe it's just because I had reread some of the Alan Moore stuff recently, but totally got it. Santa gets it.
Your go.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna look at something really quick. I don't know if I disappeared on you all or not.
You did.
Oh man, but you can still hear my voice, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me do this. Okay. Am I back, friends?
Yes, you're back.
Okay. Okay. I had to look and see which other one that I picked. So my other pick for the week, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself. So I'm reading Faithless, and Faithless, the second arc, issue number 2 came out, and I feel like I'm really disappointed in this title. I really enjoyed what it was doing with the first volume and the first issues, but now I don't know if it's the whole.
But those two low-take connecting variants.
Like the artwork. I love the artwork. I love the covers. I love so much about it, but I'm not digging into a darkroom experience. That's extra. That's on my OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. Premium Snapchat. Pew pew. Sorry.
All right.
But with Faithless, I feel like I really enjoyed the like sex positivity of it, but then when it came down to it, I really feel like maybe it's me reading too much into the whole like Me Too movement going on. I feel like really creepy vibes with Faithless, and I'm not digging it anymore. It's on my pull list. I don't know if I'm going to be like picking it up still. And that's not necessarily to say anything about this issue, but if you have issues with that, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I'd maybe give it like a 5 or 6 out of 10.
That's fair.
And that's all my personal
Your
like
scale.
opinion. My, whose line is it anyways? It's all made up and the points don't matter rating scale, but I don't know. I'm very disillusioned with comics right now, and that's just maybe me reading into it. So comics broke my heart a little bit too much. So what's your second pick of the week?
So Dark Knight's Death Metal number 2. And this turned into I know Gambit will love it because there was a Lobo cover that immediately when I saw it, I was like, oh, Gambit's going to need to get that. Yeah. So I really liked issue 1. I don't know what the fuck is going on in issue 2. Like, it started tripping into that, like, next level bullshit that got me out of the original Dark Knight's Metal, where it just started getting a little too convoluted.
Yeah.
Like the Batman Who Laughs, they put his brain into Dr. Manhattan's body. Like,
I feel like like my perspective of all of the metal stuff going on.
Seriously, the Lobo cover was awesome, Gambit.
It's funny. Like I saw that and I immediately thought of Gambit, but however, I feel like DC at this point with all the Batman stuff is just trying to go for the shock value. And I just imagine like, what's next? Are we going to see more Batwing? Are we going to see like X-rated covers? And I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like I kind of want to see some Batwing. Totally get it. However, I feel like they're just doing things for the shock value and not necessarily, I don't know. But thank goodness for, I think, speculators, because otherwise I feel like the Dark Knight's Metal just wouldn't be selling very well.
Capullo's art actually still looks good. His weird swamp thing in this, where he's a little emaciated and he's wearing some bat goggles. Interesting take. I do kind of like his Wonder Woman in it. It's a 5. It's just kind of basic bitch shit, and I hate to say that because I really liked issue 1, and it just went back to the bullshit I did not like. Your next pick.
Well, before I go on to the next pick, I think that if people are enjoying some of those things, then like with the death metal, but you're not feeling it, I would highly recommend the stuff that they're doing with the Black Label. So like for me, like Wonder Woman Dead Earth is one of the titles that I have consistently enjoyed. So if you're feeling the same way about like Batman and metal and death metal and hard metal, can we maybe get like a Batman folk metal? Can we go there with that?
Or is it going to be Black Label black metal?
There, doom metal. There's so many. Like, let's just do it. So, anyways, I think that if there's someone out there who's feeling the same way about death metal, but you're not reading the like Wonder Woman Dead Earth, like pick that up. I've been loving it. I've been really enjoying it. The art and the writing is just incredible. So yeah, that's just my perspective. My last pick is a new title from Vault Comics called Engine Ward, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I have a lot of things that Vault Comics has been coming out with, I feel like end up being sleeper hits that are completely underrated, like Heathen and The Plot, like such good titles, consistently good. And Engine Ward, like, it was not on my pull list. It is going to be on my pull list now.
I missed that one completely.
Once again, I think that like Vault Comics is doing a lot of really good things, end up like not necessarily being on any radar. So I would highly recommend picking up issue number 1. It gave me some, I am not going to use this term lightly, but I'm going to use it loosely. It gave me some Dune vibes because they are at one point like fighting sandworms, and that's probably as far as it goes because, you know, like I said, I'm not going to invoke that term lightly, but I really enjoyed it. It was really good. Maybe if Dune, Star Wars, Star Trek Discovery, I just got some really good vibes, like all the things that I like about those titles. So with Engine Ward, I would definitely rate it like 8.5, 9 out of 10. I don't want to give it a perfect 10 because I haven't read the rest of the series, but it will go on.
Yes, Vigilante. That actually, okay. Liam Sharp, it was pretty good.
Okay, I'll definitely, if I want a Batman folk metal, done. Okay, what is your last pick of the week?
I may go a little over like you normally do. So just Strange Adventures number 3. A little bit more actual like Adam Strange and Alana in this. They put a little twist where now they're trying to kind of taint their investigation. And Alana is kind of a manipulator, and she gets Batman to show up at the apartment and then films him there saying that, yeah, it's interesting. It's 6.5, 7. I still don't think it's hitting those emotional vibes that in the past that like some of these offbeat Tom King titles do. Like, Alana's pretty much a bitch. Like,
I'm here for it.
Like completely manipulative. Whereas, you know, Barda was like the sweet warrior.
She always had Mr. Miracle's back. Like, she was there with him 100%.
Alana is more of a schemer, and it's weird to kind of see that. And even it's missing kind of the soul that Vision had.
Okay, that makes sense.
There's something missing from this title that I'm just... The heart of it's just not there.
Got it.
It's not bad, but it's still... It's not drawing me in like those other ones were. And the change in art, how it switches, kind of is a little frustrating.
Yeah. So... is this something, because it's on my pull list, but I haven't like gone and picked up physical copies yet. Like I just went ahead and I downloaded and gave Amazon stupid money, so I'm sorry for that. But I'm gonna go pick up my physical issues, and it's on my pull list. Is this something that you think like should remain on a pull list until we get, you know, a little bit farther in, or?
I'd say by issue 5, if it doesn't start turning.
Is it a limited series?
Yes, it's
okay.
12 issues.
Oh, then yeah, I'll definitely wait till issue 5 to see if I drop it, because I'm not gonna like if I don't like
3 of 12.
If I don't like it by issue 5, then I don't know.
I also, on the side of things, Empire number 1 came out for this giant fucking Marvel crossover. Artwork's beautiful. I'm just not in. I can't do it. Like, it just wasn't good enough to make me want to continue.
Yeah.
And it's a little sad. Again, Pepe Larraz's art is beautiful, but it's just lacking soul.
Yeah. I feel like not that Empire was hyped up, but
Empty calories.
So is it when I think empty calories, like I think about like a really like nasty donut. Is it kind of like that where it's just fun and it's bad for you, or is it like just a stale 10 o'clock at night, last of the batch Dunkin' Donuts donut?
Actually, I would say this is after drinking, going to Taco Bell or Crystal and thinking everything's the best. And then you sit with it after an hour and you're just like, oh, man.
Listen, I felt what you just described in my bones. I don't need to necessarily drink, but I love Taco Bell. Like, if I have a lot of vices and guilty pleasures, and Taco Bell is one of them, but...
It's all about the cinnamon twists.
Yeah. I feel like I need to like trademark this, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this. So when I lived in South Carolina, and that was just like it was 2 years of my life I'll never get back, and there's like maybe one redeeming quality to it, maybe two, not including the amazing comic book store that I went to there. But like I would go like downtown, and I would like go out for a night, and then I would get drunk, and then I would be on my way home. And there was this gas station that had like 50-cent donuts, and I always called them Drunken Donuts. And I feel like I need to trademark Drunken Donuts. Like, we're only open from like 10 o'clock to 2, or maybe 3 or 4. Limited time donuts. Just get them when you're drunk. Drunken Donuts. Sorry, I went off there. I went off the rails. But
the giant size X-Men Magneto, or Magneto, however you pronounce it. Yeah. Hickman with Perez. It was a very good interaction between the Submariner and Magneto. They go on an adventure.
Yeah. I haven't picked it up. I haven't read it, so please no spoilers, but I really want it.
But out of all the giant size, this was worth it.
Okay, because like there was a couple other ones, like should I get this one? But I know I'm going to get the giant size Magneto because I love me some Magneto.
7.5 out of 10 on it.
I'll for sure be picking it up.
And now... The Journey to Hell.
What was the comic book that broke you this week? Because I was like,
this is 100% all my fault.
I thought it was going to be Gideon Falls, and then I'm like, okay, maybe it's the Tom King stuff. What is it? Okay, but why?
Morbid curiosity because of how much he was talking about it. I was like, this motherfucker is just going on and on about how this is going to be the best book you can buy. And I'm just like, I doubt it, but whatever.
And that's Scout Comics?
No, that's IDW.
Okay, because I saw the G.I. Joe, but the logo looked like Scout Comics to me. And I'm like, I actually like really enjoy a lot of their titles. But okay, so IDW makes sense because they only do like trademarked shit.
Okay. So, the first page has some of the worst fucking art I've ever seen.
That's not horrible.
It's pretty fucking horrible. You're not seeing the line work in it. Or lack of line work. It's fucking horrible. So, what really got me... a lot of things got me. The writer is a hack. 2... If you're gonna fucking steal from Frank Miller, don't do it so fucking blatantly. It literally ripped off a Frank Miller Daredevil ninja story with reincarnating what would have been like one of the Hands Masters. Literally, they do the same fucking thing. And he even tries to ape Frank Miller's art. Not the old art, the current Frank Miller. Gambit, that would be Snake Eyes Dead Game, written, co-plotted and art by Rob Liefeld. I literally like put it down and I had to go take a shower.
You're like, I need to wash this off. And then like you're in the shower and you're like, I can never be clean.
That was the crying game. Or the Ace Ventura scene. Finkel, Einhorn, Finkel.
No, I'm not. Okay, sorry. You brought it up. I loved Jim Carrey. I love that movie, but the way, like, looking back and the way that it treats trans people,
yeah.
fuck that, and like, fuck transphobia, but I still love Jim Carrey, but fuck that part because it's transphobic. Sorry, just had to go there.
So like, I didn't pick it. I don't know why I read it and I regret it, and then I immediately messaged my friend who used to work for him, and I was like, dude, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, he's blatantly stealing now, and he's like, oh no, it's an homage. I was like, no, that is not an homage. Still some loyalty there. Yeah, like, if I could make up a new rating number for this, I would.
So negative integers here.
I'm gonna give it something called a golden turkey. Gobble gobble. I don't know.
Never heard of that. I don't know.
Neither have I. I just made it up.
I feel like at this moment, like, if there was more production value to this, like a little turkey would like hop across the screen and then just like vomit.
Vomit Tom King out.
And then like do a series called the Golden Turkey Award.
So Gambit, like, right now, it's like he's not even trying to hone his craft. It's just, he took a pencil and was like, looks good to me. Put it out. And my friend like contributed to his Kickstarter for Brigade in 3 years, and he still has not received a book. So yeah, he's still a little salty about that. So yes, this book like angered me to no end. Like, it didn't just like steal a line from Frank Miller, it stole a whole fucking storyline from Frank Miller. And this is like pre-Frank Miller fucking nuts storyline stuff.
So like when he was actually like, were you redeemable qualities, I guess?
Well, if the internet didn't exist for him to like post shit.
Yeah.
Or, send in like emails angrily. You actually had to put some effort and, do some work. But fuck this book. It's not worth it. Yes, there are a couple of good covers, but I would not contribute to it. And
I feel like I'm going to go just out of morbid curiosity, and I may pay the $4 to buy it, and we'll see.
Oh God, no. Also, actually, it's kind of good that you didn't read Dracula, motherfucker, because reading it too close to Philadelphia,
okay,
I thought it made you compare them, and you didn't want to compare them. They're two different beasts.
Got it. Okay, so then I'll probably read it a little bit later this week, and then yeah.
Now on to, I guess, the entertainment portion of our show. And for those that didn't see on Instagram or anything, they happen to have released this Friday the 13th box set.
Oh, yeah.
$160. It's a limited edition, only 13,000 being produced, so pre-order it while you can, because the last version they put out is $700 on eBay right now. And once this one dries up, it's gone.
Yeah, it's funny because before I saw multiple people posting about this, and my favorite DJ here locally, that because there's a club known as the Lovecraft, but then it recently changed its name to the Coffin Club to distance itself from H.P. Lovecraft, and specifically because racist stuff. So anyways, my favorite DJ at the Coffin Club, he does like Thursday nights, and he posted it. He does so many cool Halloween unboxing videos and stuff like that. He specifically mentioned that how he wanted to get on this other one, didn't pay the money, and then it just blew up, and now it's ridiculous amounts of money on eBay. So seriously, if you're any type of horror
even
fan,
thinking about it, because once
even
it's
thinking
gone,
about it, and honestly, I don't know, we're in a weird time where normally I would be oh, it's what was it, $180?
171 was after shipping.
I get it. A lot of people are strapped for cash, but if I don't know, my perspective, whenever I spend that much money, I'm I've spent more money on dumber shit that I didn't even utilize. So, pick it up.
And also in the entertainment thing, I saw CBR put out an article talking about Tenet. It needs to make $800 million to break even.
So what I would want to say is like how I don't know too much about like movie production, but like what does it take to make a movie that almost cost $1 trillion? Is that almost $1 trillion? Like 100, whatever.
No,
100...
almost $1 billion.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so never mind, billion. So, anyways, I'm not very good at math.
So it's irresponsible right now because the movie itself cost $400 million to make.
Okay, and so then like all of the other like
$400 million in fucking marketing
that went nowhere. Like the only time I hear people talking about Tenet, one, is to watch Dune. I mean, maybe that's because my priorities are there, but that's like the only reason why I even know about Tenet is because, I mean, granted, what's his name directs it?
Rob Pattinson, Chris Nolan.
Yeah. So like I'm being attached to Chris Nolan, but unless theaters are doing something or unless you just make it stupid cheap to watch and like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Like he kept Christopher Nolan had the juice to push it back because he wants it to be a theater experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But 800 just to break fucking even. It's no wonder why, like, Halloween, they were like, fuck this, we're gone. Because there's no way, like, Tenet might end up being a disaster, like, financially. If they stay with what they're doing. Other than that, the only thing I can think of that would work is if they do a limited theater release and then put it out on VOD and physical, like, almost immediately.
Yeah. But even then, I mean, it kind of sucks because they're, like, theaters, are you risking getting sick going to a theater? And is that, like, perpetuating the whole, everything's fine because theaters are open? And then, I don't know. So I really don't know if there's a safe way to watch a movie in theater right now.
I saw people going to the theater this weekend posting they're seeing Empire Strikes Back in the theaters. I'm like, in Florida, no less.
Well, and I can say this because I've, from Florida, I'm flow grown, as the stickers on the back of the truck would like to say.
Truck nuts.
Yeah, truck nuts. Florida is wild and crazy, and part of that funness of being wild and crazy is being completely irresponsible. And to me, going and seeing anything in a theater right now is 100% irresponsible.
Although I was the person who was like, I'll be your outbreak monkey to go see the Dune trailer.
I'm on that. Like there's a battle inside my soul for that right now. But at the same time, I'm immune compromised. I cannot risk getting this disease. So, just give me the fucking Dune trailer. Just give me, I will pay like money to get to the Dune trailer and just not go and see it in theater. Just give me the fucking trailer.
Oh, that's all right. Some assholes on Twitter today decided to drop the entire Halloween Kills credits and the script with all the spoilers today.
Good job. Good job, internet.
Yep, assholes.
Yeah.
So supposedly, from what I've heard, though, Candyman is still coming out as scheduled.
In August?
Nope. They moved to Halloween's date, October 15th or 12th. So
I really want to see Candyman.
They're going to do VOD as well as theater release.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they have as much to risk with that one as they did with Halloween money-wise, where still a little bit sad, but at least we get to see it.
I think that ultimately, one of the things that can change what's going on in the movie industry, I know that there's a bottom line that they need to follow, and I don't think that we can necessarily rank how good a movie is based on how much money it makes or how much profit it makes. Can we rate it on how many people watch it? So, like for instance, with what? Like
the Nielsen ratings? How many people were tuned in?
Yeah, basically. So, like, is there a way to be like, okay, pay $20 to see Candyman. How many people in your household are watching it right now? Like, so, 2 or 3, whatever. How many people over the age of 18? So then we can kind of get something like that and say, instead of being like, oh, the box office broke this much, it could be this many people watched it. I know that doesn't make sense financially because ultimately they do have to mind the bottom line when it comes to that, like 800 million just to break even. But could we say, 800 million people watched this movie and rate it that way?
I keep thinking there's going to be like an original content, like just a drought coming soon.
Yeah, especially because so much production hasn't been able to produce. Like even was it Sandman, where they were like, we were literally ready to go, and then the pandemic hit, and we had to, like, we can't, like, it's written, we've got the logistics ready, and we just can't.
Speaking
we're not
of
doing
Sandman,
it right now.
Did you get an Audible account?
I did not. I'm actually off, like I'm not working the next couple of days, and it's just under 11 hours to listen to. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and maybe buy it today, and then I'll listen to it. I listened to the trailer and I heard Kat Dennings' voice for Death, and I love Kat Dennings. Like, to me, I want her playing Delirium. However, I think this is just going to be an audio transcript for the first volume, and Delirium doesn't really show up in the first volume.
I kind of know who I'd like to do Death's voice.
Who's that?
The girl who plays April from Parks and Rec.
Oh, shit, what's her name?
I know it, and I'm Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza, yep.
Yeah.
100% I see it because she's morbid but still delightful. I would also even say Christina Ricci.
Yeah, that would actually be good. Weirdly, my head went to like way back when it would have been Winona Ryder.
I get that because of...
It had been years and years and years ago.
Yeah, if it had been made in like the 90s or early 2000s, I could see that. 100%.
Okay.
I heard James McAvoy. I heard his voice,
Morpheus.
like in the little trailer. I heard him playing Morpheus, and I melted a little bit. So I am very excited about it. I just haven't had a chance. So.
Okay, so on to the main subject of our entertainment, which would be The Old Guard, the Netflix adaptation, which, to be honest, going into this, I was terrified because the last Greg Rucka movie made from his work was Whiteout with Kate Beckinsale, and it was
I haven't seen that.
It was so bland and horribly done that, and his writing tends to be a little drab at times, and some people were saying that this was bland action.
That Old Guard was?
Yes.
I'm curious. So I have thoughts about the comic and I have thoughts about the movie, but I want to know do you want to go first and talk about your thoughts, or?
Sure. So, I was happy with how it ended, although, very odd that they set up a sequel at the end where it's not really a given, especially going into Force Multiplied, hadn't finished yet.
And sorry to kind of like interject because
take care, Vigilante. Thanks for stopping in.
Bye. So like literally in Old Guard, like this is the last page of the graphic novel and it says the Old Guard will return. And so when I reread this, reread this, whatever, it was kind of weird. I'm like, will it return? And I knew that I don't know.
So I kind of owed at the beginning of the movie where I'm like, oh God, we're starting with the bodies on the ground and some horrible music. And if I'm noticing the background music, it's usually not a good sign.
I would say I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. However, the music that they chose in the background, I didn't like. It was like, I feel like they were all talking at a table thinking about producing this, and they're like, how are we going to get the millennials? How are we going to get the 18 to 20, or well, I guess, sorry, millennials. How are we going to get Generation Z invested in this? Let's put some modern music. And to me, it didn't fit the vibe at all. At all.
It's weird that, like, Charlize Theron as Andy kind of was giving off a very strong Sarah Connor vibe.
Yeah, especially with the short haircut.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, she should be in Terminator if they ever reboot it.
Yeah. I would 100% watch that.
The choreography of the action scenes, I did not think was as good as some of, like, the Marvel shows, like on, say, Daredevil, where I thought the choreography was fucking fantastic.
I disagree. I thought it was great, but
I didn't like as much. Like, I just, maybe it was the slow down moments in some of the fights. I'm like, like it kind of comes off a little cheesy.
Yeah. There were things that happen in the book that I'm like, okay, I hope that they do this in the show. But then when I watch, in the movie, and then they didn't do them in the movie, and I'm like, I'm kind of glad that they didn't do it. Like, for instance, in like the first part of the comic book graphic novel, they have Andy sleeping with someone, and he's like, oh, I don't normally do this. My name is, and she interrupts him, and she's like, don't tell me your name. It makes it easier to forget you. It just walks off. And I'm like, I kind of wish that they had done that, but I'm really glad that they didn't. Then there was the character in the graphic novel who was a former slave, and they didn't include him.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad that they changed that as well.
The actress playing Nile, I didn't. Her voice kind of grated on me, and I don't know why. Like, it's a stupid thing to pick at, but like, she'd talk, and I'd start like, I don't buy the toughness of her.
Okay, that makes sense, because I liked the character. I thought that she played it really well.
The voice was mousy, I guess.
Okay.
It's just a little squeaky. And I just once want to see. I don't want to kill his name, but Chikio Okafor. He played the CIA agent.
Yeah.
He was also in Serenity, and he was actually one of the scariest villains when he was in that movie. I'd like to see him play a good guy just once.
Yeah.
Sort of is. I as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, cool, he's in this. The better than the book, we talked about this briefly on chat. Joe and Nikki.
I was literally just about to, like, that's what I'm looking for is that scene where the soldiers like, oh, what is he, your boyfriend? Like, that scene line for line in the graphic novel broke me. Like, teared up. It was so good, and they fucking nailed it in the movie. Like, perfect. I loved it.
Yeah, the look he gives him as he's saying it, I just the actors just pitch perfect. Like, I actually thought it was better than in the book, probably because they're better looking in real life than.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like you said,
draws them ugly.
And then like you said, the way that they like looked at each other, I didn't necessarily see a lot of chemistry between the characters in the movie. Like, there wasn't a lot of like physical intimacy between the two, but that moment whenever, I don't know, like, look, get you a dude who looks at you like that. Get you a partner who looks at you like that. The passion,
the way he said it, and the way he looked at him, and then they had the kiss, and that's what the guards are like, I'm getting a little uncomfortable now.
I didn't necessarily see it as the guards felt homophobically uncomfortable with it, because like for anyone who hasn't watched the movie, who hasn't read the graphic novel, the two characters get kidnapped, end up in a van, and this couple, the two characters, Joe and Nikki, one, I forget which one, is like kind of knocked out, and then the other character is like, is he okay? Is he okay? And the soldier's like, what is he, your boyfriend?
Nikki was knocked out.
Nikki was knocked out.
The one with the short hair.
Yeah. And so then the soldier's like, oh, is he your boyfriend? Obviously, like, completely, like, homophobic. And for Joe to just go, like, he's not my boyfriend. He's so much more than that. Like, we
killed each other in the Crusades and fell in love.
We fell in love, and, you know, he's basically my moon and my stars. Like, I have it right here. What he says is, that man is more to me than you can dream in your simpering, pathetic life. That man is the stars in my sky and the sun that lights my days. That man is the moon when I am lost in darkness and warmth when I shiver in cold. So I don't know if anyone here is into like poetry and shit. But if you've never heard of the poet Rumi, like some of his love poetry is like that. And there's, he was a Persian poet, I believe. And there's some, you know, talk of if he was gay, but you know, it's hard to tell from that. Like, if you loved this moment and you haven't checked out Rumi's poetry, so good, so good. So that moment, like, that broke me in such a fantastic way. Yeah.
For a while, the guy who owned the pharmaceutical company, for a minute, I thought he was the Ramsay Bolton. I thought he was that same actor because they had some of the same, like, behaviors.
However, the actor was fucking Dudley from Harry Potter.
What?
Yeah. Yes, that was my reaction too. Because, okay, so here's some background. My partner has a gift. It is a gift for, like, being able to figure out, like, actors and voice actors. Like, he hears someone and he's like, oh, that's so-and-so. I'm like, no, it's not. He's right, like, 99% of the time. And he's like we're watching it and he's like, that's Dudley. And I was like, what the fuck did you just say? literally. I was like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And that moment also broke me in a completely different way. So yeah, 100% that was Dudley. And I still don't know how I feel about that. Dudley from Harry Potter, everyone. Like, I had
that weird moment during Aquaman when I'm like, man, it's really cool that Viggo Mortensen's this movie. Gambit turns to me and goes, no, that's not him. I was like, what? He goes, no, that's the Russian from Rocky. I was like, bullshit. And then we watched the credits, like, fuck.
Yep. So if you haven't watched it yet, to me that's the biggest spoiler of the entire fucking movie, is that Dudley from Harry Potter's in it. And I apologize that I don't know his actual, like, actor name, his real life name. I apologize.
Oh, there's a mid-credit scene too. Sort of, like.
Yeah. So I don't know. To me, like, that was the biggest spoiler. And it kind of broke me. And then once I realized that it was Dudley, I'm like, dude,
derailed you for the rest of the movie?
Kind of, not really, not in like that Lighthouse type way, but there's like a little like asterisk right here, like refer to episode whatever of the LongBox Paradox to know what I'm talking about. But it was like, I feel like Neville Longbottom's character, the actor who plays him, who stole all of the glow up potion. So Dudley couldn't get any of that. Like, I feel like the actor who played Dudley and then plays the pharmaceutical dude in this movie, like, it's not that he didn't age well, because, like, Dudley's a horrible character, but I don't know. He didn't get the same, like, glow up.
It's kind of like Draco Malfoy being in Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's gigantic.
Please consider subscribing.
I did not want to make it that big.
That's what she said.
Oh, we went there.
You did. Sorry. That's what they said?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the like passive aggressive, like, please consider subscribing. Or you could just be like, fucking just subscribe. If you enjoy this is what it's regularly like.
Subscribe, motherfucker.
Just subscribe. Some fries, motherfucker.
Oh God. So having Quinan in this, or Quinan, I thought was a weird introduction to put her in this movie. When Force Multiplied, they really just had the follow-up series, but okay, like
I felt like the series was alluding to that. It wasn't in the graphic novel, really.
No,
so
just in the newest series.
So I'm really surprised that they did that, and I thought it was just going to be a one and done. So I don't know how I feel about it, but I also have not read Force Multiplied, so who knows?
Just ended.
Yeah, week. Like the issue 5 came out this week.
So overall, I liked the movie. I'm glad it wasn't a series because it would have been way too padded. Well, like it was kind of padded as it was, right? You know, I was surprised they got the actors they did for it. Yeah,
I agree. I think that considering how old Andy Andromaca, was that the name of the character?
And Andromaque.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Andy. So thank you for calling her Andy. Considering that they don't say it in the movie, but in the book, she's like 6,000 years old. I think that's the age that they give her. I would imagine that they would have given her a more like Middle Eastern background, and that she would have actually been a character of color. And so and now I'm getting them mixed up. I can't remember if it was the graphic novel or if it was the movie that says that she's from Russia, or like Russian territory. So I don't know if that's like whitewashing. So
because the book, she's ancient Babylonia.
Yeah, so I would have, even though I really do appreciate Charlize Theron being in this, I wish that they hadn't whitewashed the character, even though, like, man, Charlize Theron in this was incredible.
I was just happy they got the axe right.
Yeah, they really did. Normally that would be the one thing that I feel like when they do remakes, they don't pay attention to details like that. But even like on the cover, like you can see like her holding the axe right there. So I highly recommend like reading this and watching it. Like for me, it's a recommendation.
It was entertaining. Is it the best thing I've watched? Probably not. But it was entertaining. And again, there was some really good actors, and the scenes that they nailed, they really fucking nailed. And then you just have to get over a little bit of bloat that they had to put in to pad the time out.
Yeah, for sure. And even and I feel bad because I don't necessarily want to ruin it for anyone, because obviously like the good guys win. And there's a scene where they jump out of the building, and that's literally one of the last pages in the graphic novel, like one of the last 5 pages. And then they give it a little bit more substance in the movie. So there's like little things like that. But overall, I think that this really nailed the spirit of the book in a really good way. In a really, really good way.
I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. Like it wasn't perfect.
No, but to me, perfect is like 10 out of 10. Like, yeah. I would still rate this at least an 8.5 out of 10. My only, what I wish that a lot of these comic book, movie, and TV show adaptations would do is ultimately I want to see people go into their local comic shop and buy the book and buy the source material. So do I think that this is a good enough adaptation for people to pick it up? I really think it is, because I forget who messaged me about it, but they were like, I want to read it, but it's like sold out. And I'm like, oh, I got you. Let me see if it's available at like one of my local places, and like everywhere it's sold out. So I think it's good. I hope that Old Guard sells out, and I really hope that this, for people who want to get into comic books, but it's overwhelming, I would say if your first go into a comic book store is to pick up Old Guard, please go and pick it up and see some other recommendations you might get. Like, ask the people who work there, like, what else would I recommend? Like, if you could recommend another comic book for someone who enjoyed the show, or sorry, enjoyed the Old Guard movie, what would you recommend?
If I were going to go with a Greg Rucka title, Lazarus.
Okay. See, for me, like, I'm always going to say Saga.
Gotham Central.
I
know you got it tucked somewhere in there.
I do. So part of this whole readathon, if anyone, hasn't heard already, part of this readathon is because broke my foot on painkillers, big sale at big sale at a local bookstore here. Ended up with way too many comic books. I'm trying my darndest to get through 100 in a month, and I'm doing it. Like, I'm smashing it. I'm murdering it right now. But I've got, like, part of what this was supposed to do is to eliminate the stacks of comics that I have just sitting around the house. And it's not really building. And yet it keeps, because I'm like, I'm going to put them all away when I get done with all of it, so I can take a picture with my 100 graphic novels and comic books. And I'm pretty sure that I don't know, they'll probably end up here for like another month after I do this. But yeah, I need to buy another bookshelf, like, because I've got 3 like kind of shitty bookshelves behind me, and I think that I need to invest in a new one before these 3 just like. So anyways, sorry, got off the rails there a little bit. Gotham Central by Rucka was really good. This was a really good.
Wait, is that the fatter one? Is that the one is that the regular? Okay, I can't tell if that's the original or if that's the newer version. Did it have the Montoya outing in the second half of the? It did. Okay, so that's the newer version.
So this one kind of. So speaking of Gotham Central, I think Rucka, he does Greg Rucka, whatever. He does a really good job writing queer characters. Like, I think the queer characters in Old Guard were really good. Batwoman's like eternally one of my favorites because of him. But spoiler alert here, in Gotham Central, on the back, the description that it puts on the back, it says, Renee Montoya is outed as a lesbian and finds her work environment and personal life turned upside down, and then things become more complicated when she's kidnapped by Two-Face. And that literally happens in like the last 2 issues of this. Like, that has nothing to do with the rest of this. Like, the first part of this is all about like Mr. Freeze. And so for that to be like on the back of the book, and that's literally what happens in like the last 90% of this book, I was like, what? Like, I read the back of it and I'm like, wait, when are we going to get to that? Was she already outed and I missed it? So sorry, spoiler alert there, whatever. But it was still really, really good. I really, really enjoyed it.
That creepy part with Two-Face where he's like, no, I can change you. And she's like, no.
I think that that was a part that I was kind of conflicted about, because Two-Face goes to Renee Montoya and he kidnaps her. And then there's one of his like henchmen that like take down their glasses and like starts like ogling her. And he's like, no, you don't do that to her. And part of me was like, oh, that's sweet. Am I supposed to sympathize with the villain? And then like 2-3 pages later, he's like, the reason why I captured you is because I'm in love with you. And she's like, dude, I'm a lesbian. He's like, doesn't matter. I think that I'm the right guy for you. And part of me is like, vomit inducing. And I didn't necessarily like that, but I think that it did a really good job of not going overboard and like having more extreme scenes. So
I thought most of that was just to show how like crazy and narcissistic he is. That by like outing her, that like it was going to somehow draw her to him.
So here's my thing, and I know this is kind of a far stretch, and trigger warning for some things that I'm going to talk about. So I think that whenever writers use rape, that's the excuse that's given. So for instance, and I'm not going to go too much into how much I love Game of Thrones and how much I hate Game of Thrones, but one of my biggest complaints about Game of Thrones is that I don't like the rape scenes in Game of Thrones. I hate them. I don't like rape scenes in anything. And what people always end up telling me when I bring this up is, well, that's just how women were treated back then. And I'm like, bitch, we've got dragons. If I can have a world...
It's a plot device.
Okay, if I can have a world with dragons, I think that I can have a world without rape. Please and thank you. Like, I understand that we use violence against people to show how bad and how evil a character is, but it's to me like it's normally at the expense and trauma of the female characters, and I think that if we're overly writing that, like, you're a bad writer. That's my hot take. So
this is my problem with Sucker Punch. Like
100%, like Sucker Punch could have been such a good movie. It was beautiful. It had the budget. And then, like, my God.
Begins, middles, and ends with rape.
Yeah, like, please. No. No
Oscar
means
Isaac
no.
is blue.
Like, and this is, we could like go into this conversation and we could, circle it back to the conversations we've been having about the Me Too movement in comic books that's kind of happening right now, but that's actually been happening for a really long time, is that I think that there does need to be more diversity in the industry so that things like this don't happen and don't get written. Like, there needs to be sensitivity writers on things, just an option.
Or maybe reach out to people who could help you write it or more experienced than you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm not against, if someone wants to write, thinking about, I'm thinking of Chelsea Kane, who wrote Man-Eaters. But I would say, since I'm going to use this as an example, if you're someone like Chelsea Kane and people are like, hey, this book isn't really like coming across the way that you should. And then her way of like kind of like apologizing for it was to go on Twitter and be like, hey, can I get like a trans person, or like, can I get someone to proofread this for me, sensitivity read it for me? I can't pay you. And then be like, well, I don't get paid a lot of money. And it's like, I think that is needed. Like, if you're going to write trans characters, or you're going to write characters that are outside of your perspective and you want to do a good job at it, reach out to people, but pay them. Pay them for their labor.
You don't want to take their tweets and then post them in the book.
And like 100%, like Chelsea Kane then took tweets that were criticizing the book and then put them in the background of the book. And man, like, if there was a field guide on how not to do things, like, that is it.
So Gail Simone, when she was on Batgirl, was writing a story where Barbara is suffering from PTSD, basically. And she actually reached out to a therapist to talk to her about the symptoms and stuff like that. It was Andrea Letamendi, who does the like psychology of Batman. She reached out to her and she helped her with the PTSD, like what are symptoms, how would people deal with it, and just kind of got a professional aspect of what to put in the book.
Yeah.
So, it probably doesn't take much for you to reach out to people, and, or if anything, they might just want credit in the book. You never know.
Yep. I think that if it's a close friend or someone that you're like, hey, I'm going to ask you to do this labor, I can't pay you, and they agree to that, then, I think that's one thing. But to publicly reach out and be like, I want you to do this work and I don't want to pay you for it. I don't get paid very much. And I don't know. And then for Chelsea Kane to go into and post those tweets in the book,
She's also a published author.
She is, and she does
teen books, young adult. It's just...
It's sad because honestly, she got harassed on Twitter by both sides, right? Like, she got from... I don't necessarily want to make it like a leftist versus rightist thing, but she got harassed on all sides. And I don't necessarily think that she deserved all of it, but I don't think that she handled it gracefully as well. But
my thing is, like, if you can't handle social media, like, just promote your stuff, don't interact.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, there's a way to do it, there's a way not to. As we've seen now, I heard Sean Gordon Murphy was asked by DC to get off Twitter.
I have feelings about Sean Murphy, but I'm not going to go into him right now.
Oh, I got a handful of it from Cinia earlier.
Yeah.
So, I haven't really been up on things because I've been dealing with my own stuff and my fractured hand.
Well, that's because there's this whole secret network.
Which the person who supposedly is the dog whistler for that wrote Dracula Motherfucker.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, the whole secret network. I mean, I know there's little Facebook Messenger cliques and stuff like that. I've heard of stuff like that. They're, Facebook groups. They exist. Like, mainly they're chats, though.
Yeah.
But whatever. I've seen enough people melt down over that Bleeding Fool article, and like, I saw the title of like the site, and I'm just like, okay, this is a parody site, isn't it? That article was not well written.
To me, it felt like, not that I read him very much or like at all, but it felt like an Alex Jones. Alex Jones, who's the other guy who... Glenn Beck, like, it felt like just grasping at any straw that you're, to me, the point of news is to go in and to be like impartial and then write what you have seen, gather your information, and then tell us based on the information that you got. But I think what a lot of times they do is these people already have their mindset, or they already have like their article written, and they're just using what they can use to go over it, right?
Well, they're not journalists. They're not journalist students. No. They're literally people who just found out how to use WordPress.
Yeah, 100%. Which, granted, like, I wish I knew how to do that. I tried at one point, and it doesn't work for me.
I just don't have the ability to like stay to a schedule and actually like sit there and type and maintain interest.
Yeah.
I tried doing that too. I had I think it was WordPress. I tried blogging comic books and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That, and I'm too emotional to blog. It would just be like rants from like beyond.
I'm sure there is a Jennifer Live Journal or Dead Journal somewhere. If those sites are, I don't even think they're still active. I mean, granted, in all of the really sad writing that I have on a floppy disk somewhere, it's out there.
I'd basically be Abe Simpson from The Simpsons. Just, you gosh darn it.
One day it'll be you.
You kids in your twilight.
Pretty much.
I will say, going back to old guard, the romance between Joe and Nikki still better than anything in Twilight.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Less abusive too.
Yeah.
People seem to forget that, from what I gathered, Edward was a manipulator.
100%, and I don't know. I'm not going to read it.
No, I saw the movies, though, and they were horrible, so I'll just leave it at that. And I'm still embarrassed that I even spent the time watching them, but I wanted to see what they were about, especially when my mom started reading the books. My mother... That
soundtrack, though, was actually too good for the movies, in my opinion.
That's going to be a thing. We'll do soundtracks better than the movies.
100%. It was too good. It was too good. So, but, if it got some, sad emo kids into some, fucking Radiohead and The Cure, if it got kids into that, I'm all for it.
Here's a good question. Was the Crow soundtrack better than the Crow movie, or was the Crow movie better than the soundtrack?
I'm very conflicted because I think the song that really hooked me on the Crow soundtrack was Burn by The Cure. And I think that was written specifically for the movie. So there's a part of me that wants to be like, no, the movie's a classic. But then there's another part of me that's like, we got Burn from The Cure. So...
The Nine Inch Nails version of Dead Souls by
Joy Division.
Joy Division was excellent. The My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult song, After the Flesh. And then that song, I can't remember the name of the band, but it was Time Baby Time. You don't have to take... They were playing in the club when Top Dollar was up there. Crap.
Yeah.
I listened to that soundtrack so many times and I cannot remember that. But yeah, really good soundtrack. And I do remember Trainspotting having a really good soundtrack.
I can't remember listening to the Trainspotting, but that was such a good movie. Two of the other soundtracks that I really enjoyed, I love the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. We'll listen to that, not just the instrumentals, but the other songs as well. Neil Diamond, Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, gets me every time. And then the other soundtrack that I feel like looking back is better than the movie, Garden State.
Yes.
I feel like the Garden State movie has not aged well, but the soundtrack, that was a moment in time for me.
Darren Aronofsky's first movie, Pie, had the most amazing, drum and bass soundtrack ever.
Yeah. Also for consideration, and I listened to it. Well, okay, sorry, two for consideration. One is going to be the Mandy soundtrack. I listen to that. I feel bad for my apartment neighbors because I put that on blast at least once or twice a week. I also put the Blade Runner soundtrack on blast once or twice a week. 100%. I listened to it yesterday. Granted, I live my tiny apartment in the city, and I live right next to a really busy highway, and I just pretend I'm in Blade Runner. That's it. That's how I get through listening to traffic 24 hours a day.
The soundtrack to Kids. I hate the movie, but I liked the soundtrack.
I can't recall that movie, so.
It was the one where the kid has HIV and is passing it to all those people. Rose. Oh my god. But the one who was in Clerks 2.
Rose McGowan?
No.
No.
Oh god. Why am I going blank? Any other day.
I'm so ashamed of myself right now. The actress in Clerks 2, and she was also in Daredevil as the
nurse. Yeah.
Rosario Dawson.
Yes.
Thank you for my phone a friend off screen right here. I have to give him. See, I'm telling you, he has a gift for fucking actors and actresses. Rose McGowan.
Sin City.
Or not Rose McGowan. Rosario Dawson. Sin City. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Rosario Dawson.
She was in that movie when she was literally barely an adult. and it was fucked up, but it had like a good soundtrack. But it was like the most vile movie I've ever watched. Also, the Suspiria soundtrack by Goblin.
I don't know why. So I don't think I've seen Suspiria. I haven't listened to the soundtrack, but when you said by Goblin, in my brain, I just got a snapshot of Mortis. And it takes a special person to like know who Mortis, whoever you are. Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this, but Andrew Eldritch is a championship fencer. So if anybody is a fan of Sisters of Mercy, and why shouldn't you be? The videos on YouTube of their music videos have some of the greatest comments ever.
My favorite, and this is one of the first ones that I saw. It's going to be my favorite. Is on This Corrosion. One of the commenters says, when a goth dies, you don't really die. You just go and join the chorus of This Corrosion, and I will feel that every time I listen to it from now on. I'm just going to be like, pour one out for my homies in This Corrosion.
There was one was like, sunglasses, check. Leather jacket, check. Rain, check. Bow staff, check. Yep. You're now goth ready for This Corrosion.
Yep. Yep.
There was one like, this is a cross between Michael Jackson and I forget what. There's some, like on Dominion, Mother Russia. It's like, oh, it's Indiana Eldritch in The Last Crusade. So it's like, I heard he was wasted during this, and someone wrote, that's impossible. He's a championship fencer. I was like, what the fuck does that have to do?
Like, after this, I'm going to go to his, like, Wikipedia page and, like, fact check and be like, no, he's not a championship fencer. He's only, like, an amateur fencer.
He's basically the goth Chuck Norris, but he will go on to say they're not goth.
No, but we all know. We all know Andrew Eldritch. And can I just say, so he said that if Trump got elected, that we would get a new Sisters of Mercy album. And I need a new Sisters of Mercy album, dude. Like, you owe me a debit of 100 Nazi scalps.
Is he going to bring Patricia Morrison with him? Or Morris?
I hope so. I hope so.
But yeah, if you haven't listened to Sisters of Mercy, like, just go and just look them up. There's some really great chorus work.
It's because all the goth kids who died.
There was... Someone put the extended version of More on there, and it's like, I watched this and I want more. Just these fucking comments, and I'm just like, I'm just not witty enough.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh god, you know, like, do I want to go down the pipe of like Glenn Danzig videos? Because I know, like, I watched one for Mother, and it was like, you even work out, bro? And it was just repeatedly the same comment. Oh.
So maybe we'll do an episode where we review YouTube comments on our favorite, like, music videos.
Oh no, like I just, and I hate that, like, I was like, you were drunk, and I'm like, I don't know why, but I'm watching a Sisters of Mercy video and reading the comments and I'm dying, and you're like, I don't know if I want to do that because I'm drunk, and I'm like, I think you do.
I do. I did, and it worked. It worked a lot.
Although we were arguing, my boss and I, about if pudding shots actually exist.
So they do, and I
looked it up. There's something called a Dirty Girl Scout.
Oh.
It's got like mint cream in it.
Ooh. So a couple weeks ago, I ended up getting food from a restaurant, and they had pudding shots, and I'm like, "What's a pudding shot? They're $2 each. Give me a couple. Just give me a couple of them." And then I was literally like, my partner and I were like walking down the street, just like doing pudding shots, because that's what we do in 2020. And I'm like, I bet this is so easy to make. Spoiler alert, they're kind of easy to make. But the recipe that I found online was like, so normally for pudding, when you know, Jennifer's Guide to Making Pudding Shots when you've never made them. One of the recipes that I saw called for the pudding mix. And normally with pudding mix, like a standard box of pudding mix, you'd use like 2 cups of milk. And it was like, do 1.5 cups of milk and then substitute the other half cup with vodka or rum or whatever. And then I saw another one that was like, okay, do 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of vodka, rum, whatever. And I'm like, I'm going to do the full cup. And it came out too soupy and it didn't really like mix. So if you're going to, after watching this video, you want to investigate and you want to make your own pudding shots, I would recommend get your pudding mix, do 1 and 1/2 cup of milk and then a 1/2 cup of liquor. Because what I ended up having to do to get it to not be soupy was just add more pudding mix. So I had to get a different box of a different flavor and mix it all together. It still came out fantastic. So,
I mean, I still laughed at you saying I made homemade margaritas. I was like,
oh boy, howdy. Those margaritas slapped. I actually still, I ended up going into like a liquor. So one thing that's a little bit different here in Oregon where it's not in Florida, like Publix. There's a Publix grocery store, and then in the same building, there's like a liquor store right next door. So that's not really a thing here with the grocery stores. Whatever. It was like that when I lived in South Carolina. So you have to go to a separate liquor store. So I actually went to like a standalone liquor store for the first time since I had been here and ended up buying like lots of monies of alcohol, and then got day drunk on margaritas. And I actually just got like a big thing and so I still have margarita mix in my fridge. So later today.
You'll hold off a little bit. Your day drinking just led to bad things. Like your Ask Me Anything.
Oh, no, I think the Ask Me Anything went really, really well. I mean, I don't know. I'm like that when I'm sober, so.
I was just like, oh, she's drunk and doing an Ask Me Anything. This can't be good.
I think it went really well.
Yeah.
You can literally, I think anyone could DM me on Instagram and ask me anything anyways, and I would respond to any dumb question. So, you know, fucking try me. Fuck around and find out.
I'll just start sending you word problems. A bus is going this speed from...
I will give you all my opinions all the time.
Even when you don't need them.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you for all that. We have derailed and gone down dark tunnels. We should save this for when Gambit's on.
Yeah, especially because I'll be giving all my opinions about Black Science. And I think, so I've committed that whenever we get a date for when we're going to do the next book club and we're going to go over Black Science, I'm going to read it again when I'm not reading 100 graphic novels in a month and just, because I think I read Low, like right before I read Black Science, and I was still just so angry about Low that it like filtered into my reread of Black Science. So I'll try to reread it again and see if I get anything else from it.
That's why I was talking to Sid. She goes, well, Grant's a piece of shit. Of course she's not going to like Grant. I'm like, well, yeah, but she's like, well, she had a problem with the art. I was like, She goes, yeah. Oh, we're going to have a problem here. I was like, well, I mean, not with me, but I mean, you and Jen can have a discussion whenever that happens. Here's
my thing about the artwork on Low is that I'm not saying that like
I got Black Science.
Oh, I like I kind of enjoy the artwork on Black Science a little bit better, but with Low, it was like, I'm not saying that like the artwork is bad. I'm just saying that Greg Ticini saw porn when he was 15 years old, and that's the only reference for a female to draw ever.
And Sid was just like, if she starts talking about my Marcus and Deadly Class, we're gonna go.
We're gonna go.
No. But yeah, that's gonna be entertaining whenever I can get her on. So we've reached the end. It's been an almost hour and a half, and we've talked about a lot. We've said a lot. We've talked
and
about
said nothing at the same time.
It's like Seinfeld. Talk about our drinking habits. Talked about my fractured hand. Not
all
too
we need is
detailed.
like a goofy Elaine dance, like however she like that's.
It was a lot of elbows. Now I'm not really embarrassed. I did put I wanted to be as a quote for Tom King's Batman. One of the review episodes, I said, this is a book about nothing. It's like Seinfeld, but it's a comic book.
Yeah.
So we don't have a date for our next book club yet. I mentioned it to Gambit while he was in our chat, and he did not reply. So it's always a good sign. And join us next week, and then first week of August, I'm hoping to have us start the Dune over. I have not talked to Cindy about that.
That sounds like a good date for me because, I probably won't want to read like a full graphic novel after this month. So switch over to a chapter.
You have to get your pick too for.
Yeah,
ready.
I'm thinking about like what I want to read. So to be determined.
And if you want some hot takes, Cinia Reads on Twitter. That is where she puts all her hot takes now. You may agree, you may not disagree. You never know. It's hard to say. And of course, at Gambit's Inc., check out his tattoos he's doing. And I believe he has like an indie book coming down the pipe at some point that he participated in. Mm-hmm. And you can find me at comic_chop_news at Instagram, and Jennifer at Comic Books Will Break Your Heart, or on YouTube at Comics Will Break Your Heart.
Yeah.
And occasionally on other shows, because she's the guest that people want from the show. I work too much.
I think that not necessarily what it ends up being is that it's just like people are like, oh, it's a lady who's into comic books. And I think that a lot of times, like when it's done, people are like, seriously, people are like, wow, you know so much about comics. Look at you. And I'm just like, cool. Like, I appreciate the compliment, but I feel like it comes from a place of ladies don't know about comic books. And we're surprised you know so much about comic books. So, I don't know.
Also, congratulations to Newbie Comics for hitting 1,000 subscribers. And he's doing a giveaway going on his Instagram page. So go check it out. And again, congratulations. I've been doing this for close to 2 years now. I'm just over 200 right now. Not bitter, just doing it my way. Not, and I don't know what my way is. It's just unscripted, unplanned. It's my brand, apparently. So join us next week. I don't think we've talked. This might be the week we do Fear with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have a lot of fucking things to say about that movie. I have a lot of things to say about it.
I may, so maybe what I'll do is I'll finish off the margarita mix in my fridge right now and get into Fear. Who knows? The night is young.
I might have to go tattoo Nicole Forever on my chest. Because that is a thing that happens in the movie.
Spoiler alert, don't ruin it for me.
Oh no, it's on the back of the cover.
Well, I don't have the DVD.
I'll send you the scan.
Send me your CD-ROM collection.
Oh, you're gonna laugh at this, by the way. On the back of the Friday the 13th box set, like the features, there's something I didn't know that exists.
What's that?
So they have old Fangoria articles they're adding into the Blu-rays. And guess what they called it? A BD-ROM. I'm not fucking kidding. BD-ROM.
It's on brand for you.
Oh no, I'll never fucking look at one again. Or at least if I do, I'm not talking about it publicly. Anyway.
Thank you, folks, for joining us.
Yes, like, comment, share, subscribe. There's a button somewhere down here to subscribe. Please join up. We're at 215. Jennifer's channel is actually catching up to me.
Yeah.
in a lot less time.
What is it? 100? It's like 120 something. It's mostly, I'm pretty sure, my mom made like 100 different accounts and just subscribed 100 different times.
One of my exes said that she was going to make 100 accounts to get me to shut up because I wanted to get to 200 by the time I hit October of last year.
Oh, well, there you go.
Didn't quite hit it.
You're there now.
Yeah, barely. But we hit the 40,000 minutes, so I guess that's something. So take care, farewell, and be good to each other because it's horrible out there.
Oh my God! Yeah,
it's really horrible in Florida right now. We had 77,000 cases the other day.
good job.
77,000 cases.
Go Florida. Keeping me proud.
And guess who gets to work with the public?
Yep.
Can't wait. I have people in my store that refuse to wear masks. That work there? Yep.
Let the Lord sort them.
Oh no, because I'll be the one that catches it. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, because masks. I mean, there's a little bit of evidence that says that masks can actually help you from catching it. However, masks don't really. It's more about preventing you from giving it to other people. So wear a damn mask.
Yep.
Wear a mask. It's
wash
so
your
simple.
hands. Your Apple Watch will tell you how long
To wash your
if
hands.
you've
Well,
washed
that's
your hands in the iOS or the
in the
14. So September,
it's
if we make
iOS,
it there.
It's iOS 14, but it's Watch OS 7.
7, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So everybody, farewell, goodbye, and take care.